Up dog.
Up dog. Up dog.
Up dog sports talk.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Up Dog Sports Talk. I'm your host, Matt Miller. We are back with more NFL coverage. This is Justin McGovern. We got a new format for you guys. Didn't mention that in the last video, but I mean, you can see a difference. But
clearly, there's a little bit of a difference. It's given us the ability to share content and stuff now with you too. As you've noticed, we have also gotten tired of the dog barks already, so I'm sure it's a relief to a lot of you.
Yeah, and you just want to jump right in?
Yeah, it's our NFL
NFC West
season extravaganza, and yes, like you said, the NFC West.
Going over every division. This week we have NFC West. Everyone goes east to west. We're going west to east. So sit back, relax, and listen to us talk about some sports teams. All right. First up, we got Seattle.
So the Seattle Seahawks. For them, definitely. NFL head coach Pete Carroll has returned. He will still be munching gum viciously on the sidelines. Definitely, there's some drama over the offseason with Russell Wilson. Well, no, not Russell Wilson. He did not request a trade. Team 3 requested the trade. No, reality, he did, but he can now deny that he did. It appears that they made up and they're happy-go-lucky, ready to go for the year.
I don't buy that for a second.
I'm curious of that too. As soon as things go wrong, we'll see what happens. Their offense looked great for the beginning of the year last year, and then all of a sudden, let Russ cook was going crazy, and then the kitchen was closed. The offense faded the second half of the year, and they ended up with a disappointing finish, losing in the first round of the playoffs.
The Seahawks have the same problem every year. After they won the Super Bowl, their roster turned over. Marshawn Lynch left, and a bunch of things happened. Seems like Russell Wilson does his thing. The offensive line sucks. Chris Carson does well the first 5 games, fumbles a little bit, gets hurt for a little bit, and then isn't the same the rest of the season. It's up to Russ to get the ball to the receivers now. Now that they have a decent receiving core, and then that defense is no longer championship defense.
Yeah,
they have some flashes of greatness, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
I don't expect a whole lot from the Seahawks this year, especially in the division they're in. It's going to be tough. I'm thinking it really depends on what San Francisco does, but yeah. I'm thinking second at the best. Probably third more realistically.
But definitely the running back situation, Chris Carson needs to stay healthy. Rashad Penny is healthy this year, but we'll see what he does. He was a former first-round pick that's not yet panned out. Those receivers, though, are really good. They got one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. That will definitely come along. But
young, too.
Yes. But that defense isn't quite as good. They still have a good pass rush, but there's definitely question marks in that defense.
Yeah.
But on to the next team here, let's take a look at the San Francisco 49ers. Mentioned them just a moment ago. Definitely Kyle Shanahan's back. The only flat build wearing head coach in the NFL.
I don't know. I think Cliff Kingsbury pulls one off every now and then.
No, he usually doesn't wear one. He's got the fancy hair and stuff. He doesn't wear a hat.
That's true.
But yeah, definitely Jimmy G is back from injury, but the best ability is availability. Quote from Kyle Shanahan in the offseason. As a result, they have drafted a first-round pick in Trey Lance. I guess the first question for you, Matt, is do you think Trey Lance will end up starting at some point this year, whether that be from beating out Jimmy G at some point in the year or through another Jimmy G injury?
I think they're going to try to have it be like a Pat Mahomes sitting behind Alex Smith kind of thing. I think they're going to try to have Jimmy G start the whole season, play the whole season, and then see if they can dump him off next year. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Trey Lance. I watched some film, not a whole lot, but a little bit of camp film, and Trey Lance looks pretty good. He could be a week 1 starter. I don't think they want to go that route right now, but he could be a week 1 starter.
There's just some throws that he can make that Jimmy G cannot make.
And I think the throws that he can make complement the offense. And like I said before, this division depends on what the 49ers do. You could have a bunch of injuries. Trey Lance could start week 1, get hurt, not be the same the rest of the season, rehab and come back normal. But or Jimmy G can do that. But I think the division is dependent upon the 49ers. They have a chance to be the best. They have a chance to be the second best. They have a chance to be the third best. I mean, you could say that there's a chance that they come in last. I don't see it. Looking at this roster, that defense looks pretty good. They are going to miss Richard Sherman. Defensive line is as good as always. Offensive line even better.
They have really good receivers. They have a couple of young guys in Ayak and Deebo Samuel that are looking really good. George Kittle's back from injury. And running back doesn't really matter because every single running back has success in Kyle Shanahan's system.
Yeah.
So
they're going to be a pass-heavy offense. I mean, they're going to have to run the ball, but they're going to be a pass-heavy offense.
And yeah, that offense is going to look strong. The defense, I would say definitely with Richard Sherman gone, the biggest question is in the secondary. How will that secondary play, especially in a division that has a lot of good passing attacks?
Yeah. I think judging by the corners that are in the division, the 49ers will be okay. I mean, if they have to face Jalen Ramsey twice, and then I don't know who the corners are for Seattle, but it's not Richard Sherman, I can tell you that. And then Patrick Peterson's no longer there in Arizona. So, I mean, the corners that they have to go up against, they could torch.
Yes. Definitely. You'll see the passing yardage go through the roof this year. Lots of strong passing attacks and a lot of questionable secondaries.
They're gonna have to be able to run the ball, though. That's the thing. You can't just pass. You can't pass the ball like Bruce Arians does.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Going to the team with the least questionable secondary, your team in this division, the Los Angeles Rams.
I got this jersey for Christmas, and then 3 months later they traded for Matt Stafford. So I'm a little pissed that I got a wonderful gift that is no longer current. But I mean, Matt Stafford, everyone's going to find out just how talented he can be. Sean McVay is a genius. He's going to turn Matt Stafford into a better version of Joe Flacco to absolute superstar. Matt Stafford has a chance to throw for 5,000 yards this year. They have
a bold creation from Matt.
They have Deshaun Jackson, which he's old. I get it. He still has that speed though, and then if he can continue to catch, that's just another weapon. They still have Robert Woods, and then they have Cooper Kupp. So, and they got Van Jefferson, who is showing he's like, I think their third round pick, or whatever pick it is. Stafford and him have a good connection. Defensively, that line is stacked like always. The secondary is stacked like always. The question mark is the linebackers. Can they cover? Can they come down and hit running backs in the hole?
Definitely, the defense kept their two main pieces in Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. But unfortunately, because of the salary cap situation in LA, they were not able to keep everyone on the defense. So there's definitely some question marks in the linebacker core. The defensive line may even see some questions, but life is easier for the ends.
I don't think the defensive line really has that many questions. They have Ashawn Robinson, who did pretty well. Aaron Donald's the best in the sport. They got Leonard Floyd coming off the edge, and he did a great job last year. He has a new contract. I would hope that he continues that success and doesn't just flop like he did Chicago, I think is where he was before. Kenny Young, the inside linebacker, punched, I think his name's Bernard Pollard, and then ran away in a joint practice. And then it was like a big brawl that happened. And then Aaron Donald and one of the linemen, they got into a scuffle or kerfuffle, if you will. There's a lot of fight on that defense. So there's going to be a lot of physical plays.
Yeah, Aaron Donald got in a fight there in the Steel City over the offseason too.
Yeah. He'll be okay. It's whatever. It's going to come down to the kicker, I think. Matt Gay is good. He did a pretty good job last year, but it'll be consistency. They're going to have to consistently have balls go through the uprights. If they start missing kicks, it'll probably be a little detrimental. But losing Cam Akers, big blow.
Yeah. And the depth behind them doesn't look the best. Darrell Henderson hasn't proven to be a good rusher so far.
He has flashes of greatness in Sean McVay's offense.
Yeah.
And he'll do great.
The other running backs, because obviously they haven't bothered to pick up a veteran. So
yeah, they announced that he's not going to. And he announced after the Cowboys joint practice that they are going to need to play better offensively. In order to do that, I think they're going to have to get a veteran. It doesn't even have to be a very good veteran. It could be just a locker room guy who just plays every now and then. They just need a presence in there to show the young guys how to really do it. And Darrell Henderson has been around for a little bit now, but he's not going to do it. Like, he knows the system. He knows what to do in the system. And I think he's an okay locker room guy, but they need someone to just pull Edgerrin James out of retirement and have him come in and be like, yeah.
James is in the Hall of Fame, dude. He's not coming out.
No, neither will his locks.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like a promising year for the Rams.
Rams will either win the division or come in a close second, barring any injuries.
But time to go to the last team in the division before we give our standing predictions.
I've been giving predictions the whole time. Where have you been?
Cardinals.
For those of you who don't know, that is Cliff Kingsbury. He's the head coach. He is loaded and has a beautiful home.
Yep, and this fancy draft mansion. This is apparently where he took the draft from the other year. And he is the guy who was also the head coach when Patrick Mahomes was at Texas Tech, and somehow they didn't have a winning record because he doesn't care about defense. The defense is a little bit stronger in the NFL, but this offense does look loaded. Kyler Murray's back for another year. Can he progress is a big question.
Yeah, and then they got DeAndre Hopkins. They got A.J. Green. Larry Fitzgerald's a question mark. They don't know if he'll be back. They got another receiver.
They also drafted Rondale Moore from Purdue.
And don't they still have Christian Kirk?
Very versatile weapon. They what?
Don't they still have Christian Kirk, or did he go to free agency?
I actually do think that Christian Kirk is still there as well. He is very forgotten about in that receiving core, but yeah, Christian Kirk is still there as well.
My whole thing about this team is, one, the offensive line is like okay, and two, that defense is terrible.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones is
They
one of the
need
best.
some efforts.
Chandler Jones is one of the best in the sport, and he requested a trade.
Yeah.
They did get J.J. Watt, but like if Chandler Jones leaves, that's all they're going to have on defense. They got Jordan Hicks, I guess, but
Yeah. But how they resolve that situation with Chandler Jones does have
Baker.
impact on their season.
Yeah, I mean they're going to have to try to pay a lot of people here soon, and I don't think they're going to be able to afford Chandler Jones.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. They their first round draft pick from last year, Isaiah Simmons, needs to step up and play better.
Oh yeah, and they got Buda Baker
so far,
who's been playing lights out, and Isaiah Simmons can play linebacker or safety.
Yeah,
so they have options on defense. I just think if Simmons can't play linebacker and he's solely going to be a safety, they have a liability everywhere except for safety.
But this was an interesting team even last year. They probably do need that veteran leadership that they're going to get from AJ Green and JJ Watt that they added to in the offseason, because this team wasn't very consistent. They were capable of beating most anyone. They played some fantastic games last year. But the reason they didn't make the playoffs is because then they would turn around and lose to the Lions. This team just needs, that's one of the biggest keys for them this year, is they need to be more consistent as a team.
Yeah. I think they also got the short hand of the stick, or the short end of the stick. They play in a very good division.
Yes.
If they were in pretty much any other division, they would be probably first or second. I can't say they'd win any division with that defense, but
they would have won the NFC East.
That's true. They would probably
That's not
destroy
the first time in these previews that we'll rip the NFC East, but that was our first one.
Yeah.
Good cause for holding out for most of this episode.
So running low on time here, but I think.
All right. What's your final predictions? Final order. Where do you think they're going to finish?
I may be a little biased in this one, but I got Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals.
I'm going to be a little bit different from you. However, we can underestimate the impact of upgrading from Jared Goff to Matt Stafford for the Rams. That was a massive upgrade. I think that is what's going to lead to the Rams winning the division. I have the Rams in first. You cannot count Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, and the Seattle Seahawks. I have them in second. I have the Arizona Cardinals finishing third, and then the 49ers in last. I just don't know that whole situation with the quarterbacks might be a little bit iffy for them. And I think Jimmy G might feel the pressure of Trey Lance, and that could lead to a little bit of troubles there. They also need to stay healthier than they were the year before. It's a little bit of a bold prediction putting the 49ers last, because I believe I saw they were the betting favorites right now. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, they can literally finish 1, 2, 3, or 4. It literally
this
depends.
Division is so tight. Anyone can win it and anyone can lose it.
Yeah. I mean, you can make a case for the 49ers and the Rams to be clear favorites to win. I don't see the Seahawks being very competitive the entire season with these teams. I don't see the Cardinals just coming out of nowhere and just winning a bunch of games. The offense will be nice, but I think they're going to be in 17 shootouts.
I will disagree with you here a little bit. I think Russell Wilson's going to keep the Seahawks as a playoff level team. They're not going to win the division, but I think they will be in the wild card once again. That team just always seems to make their way there. Their defense won't be good most games, but will somehow figure it out other games. The Cardinals, I mean, simply put, they did add a lot of offensive weapons. The defense isn't great, but it'll do. This is the time for Cliff Kingsbury to prove he's ever going to do anything. So yeah. Giant mansion that we showed before.
I think Cliff's going to end up getting canned, and I don't think it's his fault, because he has one of the worst defenses statistically, or at least on paper, in the NFC.
But my question is, how is that not his fault? Everywhere he goes, bad defense follows him.
Right, but he's not the GM.
I know, but it seems like, I mean, he definitely has his hand in a lot of the moves. Why do you think they keep adding the offensive weapons and not really fixing the defense? It would definitely be absolutely at least a good part his fault.
I mean, if you kind of look at the rest of the division, the defenses in that division have gone downhill.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no questioning that. The passing games have gone better and the defenses have gotten worse. We will see a lot of shootouts in this division, and it will be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the wild, wild west.
Hey, it's a good thing it's fun to watch too, because I'm sure there'll be in a lot of primetime games again this year.
Well, we are out of time.
And daylight.
Yeah, we went a little longer than we thought we would, but here we are. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow at Updog Sports Talk on every social media platform out there. I am Matt Miller. This is Justin McGovern signing off. See you guys.
We're coming soon.